At this point in time, we're going to bring in some of the other committee members. Please welcome Marshall Berger. Marshall serves as the regional coordinator for the Northeast region. Mark Hammer is here. Mark is our website and head of our communications. Toby Green is here. Toby is our Central Region Outdoor Ethics Regional Coordinator. Paula Booth is here, and Paula serves as the head of operations and our Western Region Coordinator. There are some other committee members that'll probably stay blank unless we have a specific question for them, and we'll bring them up. But that's a good start. And I would like to start with the first question I have is Treadmaster training does not seem to be offered of late. Can the OE Outdoor Ethics National Committee get this to be offered online and get this offered in states after COVID-19 vaccine? Anybody would like to speak about Tread Lightly and their training programs?
Well, I'm unmuted already, and you've been hearing from me a lot, so I'll keep going. So the Tread Lightly, I understand your point. I do know that they had some staff turnover, and I think that may be an element of why they were not offering the course. They do like to do in-person training, and so anyway, unclear exactly why they haven't developed an online version. That's something we can certainly do, is reach out to them and see if that's something that they would be willing to do. I do see a follow-up note. Mike Nostrand from the National Capital Area Council. Hello, Michael. How are you? Good to hear from you. He says that he's been offering Tread Lightly trainer courses online. So I guess maybe you could go to the National Capital Area Council website and seek that out. And perhaps we could also figure out a way to share that information on the Facebook page or something.
Next one, I'd like to send to Charlie Thorpe, our curriculum division. As a master educator, can you put on a trainer course without going through your council?
No. Well, without going through a council. It's possible our courses are conducted either through officially hosted by the National Council or by local councils with the approval of the National Council. And that's both for insurance, and that's due to our contract with the Leave No Trace Center.
Charlie, can I add something to that? That's where you want to talk to your Council Outdoor Ethics advocate who can do the appropriate approvals for you. There is one other modification to what Charlie said, though, which is, as a master educator, you can, of course, do trainer courses for non-BSA. That's another whole ball of wax, but you are entitled to put on trainer courses for other entities. But that would not be through the Boy Scouts. You would have to deal with insurance and first aid issues and all kinds of other things. But that, in that case, you would not have to go through a council. But otherwise, for scouting, as Charlie said, yes, you are obliged to deal with some scouting entity, whether it's a national or a local council.
Yeah, I think the way to look at it is that a master educator does not put on so yes, you can put a trainer course without going through a council, but you can't have master educator courses that are not part of the BSA. The BSA is a provider of master educator courses, as is Knowles and Adirondack Mountain Club and Appalachian Mountain Club. So trainer courses do not have to be council sponsored at all. And as a master educator, you are welcome to find a sponsoring institution that would allow you to run that course, as long as they provide an agreement with the Center of Outdoor Ethics. Another question coming up.
Can I go back into that again?
Sure.
One more thing to be mindful if we're going outside of scouting to do that is, remember, if you have scouts attending that course, you have to be mindful of youth protection and all that that requires when you're dealing with our scouts who are over the age of 14. So just remember that.
Next question up, Bill Nay is with us. Hi, Bill, welcome. He's asking, what is the status of Outdoor Ethics Guide course? Toby, do you know? I know that the regional coordinators have been working on that. Toby, you're muted. Still muted. Try again. 3 times the charm.
3 times the charm. Yeah, yes, the outdoor guide program is still in effect. It's just sort of been kind of quiet because it was one of those ones that we did in person, and we haven't really done anything to make it virtual quite yet. But it's still a viable program within the BSA.
Marshall, anything to add to that? Do you know?
It's on our plate to do more, to develop a course for that. For those people who are attending who aren't totally familiar with the Outdoor Ethics Guide, you can find information about that on our website as well as the scouting.org. One thing I want to direct your attention to is take a look at the appendices that are part of that little Outdoor Ethics Guide program. They are just wonderful. They give the Outdoor Ethics Guide direction on how our camping and hiking activities will cause impacts. And for those of you who have dealt with your senior patrol leaders, etc., they deal with the typical things that we've all dealt with in scouting when we go out to do our camping activities. But the Outdoor Ethics Guide handbook appendices give a completely different twist to that, which is really important because it talks about impacts. So please take a look at that. It's really helpful.
Gary Curtis asked a follow-up question on the Outdoor Ethics Guide training. How does that fit into the training levels that were listed earlier? Dave, would you handle that one?
Sure. Ideally, your outdoor ethics guide, your troop or crew outdoor ethics guide will have some training in presenting and sharing outdoor ethics information by taking an outdoor ethics orientation course, a Leave No Trace 101 course, and even better, a Leave No Trace trainer course. And so the idea is that the outdoor ethics guide course wouldn't overlap or it really complements that instruction in teaching Leave No Trace and teaching the outdoor code to help the young person understand their role as a leader within their unit, and how they work with the senior patrol leader, or how they work with the crew president or crew vice president on planning activities and kind of functioning successfully within their unit. So a key part of that is having an advisor for that youth who can help them to negotiate that process. So they're really intended to complement, and think of it as kind of a junior leader training, the special component of junior leader training for the outdoor ethics guide.
Thanks, Dave. Well, Andrew Wright has piped in with a question, and Andrew is from the UK, so welcome, Andrew. He is asking, will there be training course for Distinguished Conservation Service Award advisors? Now, over the last 5 years, the Hornaday Award Advisor Program was implemented quite successfully, and it has done a lot to move that barometer. I will tell you that that whole award system is administered by the National Conservation Committee and not by us in Outdoor Ethics. So we don't really know what the plan is with respect to developing advisor training to support their new award. I would suspect they would probably head in that direction since the Hornaday Award Advisor Program was so successful. But we just don't know the answer. That is something you would have to send them a question about. And you can reach them at conservation@scouting.org is a contact for them. Next up is Thomas Thrift. Hi, Thomas. He's asking, online versus in-person awareness courses seem to be working and are well received. How have the trainer courses been working? And Charlie is our head of curriculum, and I know that Charlie has sat through several of them in different varieties. So Charlie, would you comment on that? Be
happy to. Yeah, I had the same question myself. I'm very traditional, and I have loved the in-person courses. That I really have enjoyed that over the years. And I had a lot of questions in my own mind about how the virtual courses would work out, the Leave No Trace trainer course in particular. The two that I have, the two different courses, I have two different councils that I have sat in on, I was very impressed. I think there is huge potential with the whole toolkit of virtual training. We had a wonderful Train the Trainer, virtual Train the Trainer program that was put on that helped both make us aware of some of the challenges and also some of the solutions to some of the technical problems and some of the program problems that occur in virtual training. For me personally, I think there is huge potential for this. I personally don't know enough yet to know whether or not I'd be willing to advocate replacing the in-person courses with a virtual course. My gut feel right now is no. The answer is no, because there's such value in both doing outdoor related training in the outdoors for such a fundamental method for scouting. But my mind's open. And one of the things that I hope our curriculum and educational assets group can do is take a look at what we've learned from the dozen or so courses that have occurred so far, both from the instructors and from the participants, and find out, well, okay, what have we got? We certainly, personally, my personal opinion is that the future is going to see us doing more and better virtual training. It's just too good a tool to pass by.
Thank you, Charlie. Charlie, I've got a lineup of questions for you, so I'm going to keep you live here for a little bit. Can an ME Scouter run a course for the Adirondack Mountain Club or other partner group? And Bruce Hannon asked that question. Bruce, if you'll type back some clarity, are you talking about a trainer course or a master educator course? I think what's important here is who is the sponsor, and the sponsor actually runs the course, and as a master educator, you can serve as the staff on that course. Charlie, I'll let you clarify that any way you can.
We've had that situation occur outside the country, where one of our masters helped teach a master's course that was not sponsored by BSA. And we coordinated with the Leave No Trace Center on that circumstance. And the answer was, it's up to the Leave No Trace organization, which is hosting the course. In the case of the Adirondack Mountain Club, they would be, the Adirondack Mountain Club is under contract with the Leave No Trace Center and the Leave No Trace Center. And they would have to follow the provisions of their contract. They do, some of the different providers do pull in instructors for master's courses from other organizations which teach. I know NOLS instructors do that quite frequently. So my answer is that has to be worked with the Leave No Trace Center and the Adirondack Mountain Club as far as a master's course is concerned. I personally would be very concerned about liability insurance. That's one thing that we need to be very careful with as instructors. And so that certainly has to be taken care of. And international is another whole ballgame, so I won't go there. So.
The last one for you, Charlie, in this little lineup. Do BSA Outdoor Ethic Advocates have the option to hold BSA LNT trainer and/or master courses on national park lands? And is there a formal relationship at national or at council levels? That comes from Tom up in Canada, Tom Matusik. Hi, Tom.
Yes, hi, Tom. Well, that's a good one. And I'll be honest, the short-term camping, requirements are going to affect us in that area. And I personally am not yet familiar with that, so I don't know how that's going to play. We'll have to get some better detail on that. In general, the agencies have been very willing to work with us. It's strictly up to the local agency, the Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Park Service. We've had courses which were done entirely on agency property. We have courses which are done, part of the course is done in our scout property, and then they move off the scout property onto public lands. And then we have courses which are done entirely on scout property. And so all those things are possible, but if whichever BSA entity is actually hosting the course, the national council or the local council is going to have to agree to whatever is being done. And the new national short-term, I forget the name of it, short-term administrator for the camp will have to be part of that decision process.
Yeah, and Scott, there's actually a question on that particular point about the NCAP.
Go for it.
In short term. And it says, John from Indiana. Hey, John. Fortunately, unfortunately, the in-person courses will require the involvement of a short-term administrator starting January 1st, 2021. So I know, Frank, you spoke to that a bit last night. And maybe you want to elaborate, or I can do so. Either way, go ahead.
No, I'm happy to. Thanks. So remember, the short-term administrator is kind of an advisor to, in this case, the course director. So they would have to work in advance to prepare for that course. We do have a kind of an appraisal form for non-BSA properties. The cleanest way to do it is to do it at an accredited BSA camp, but that's not always the case. And doesn't, there's certainly the ability to use public lands. And that appraisal form is very, it's a streamlined form that would identify particular standards or might trigger those that need some additional work. But it would be the local or the host council's responsibility to comply with that. And I would like to jump back. We do have a great working relationship with all of our federal land partners. We do have memorandums in place. So working with our federal partners is certainly a viable thing. But it's going to come down to the relationship with the land manager in that location and working that out. So does that answer that, Dave, you think?
Yes, Frank, nicely done. I'm going to go back step just a little bit. Bruce had kicked back with some clarity that he was referring to a master educator course. So can a BSA master educator run a master educator course for the Adirondack Mountain Club or for Appalachian Mountain Club or for Knowles? Charlie?
I'm trying to think of a time when that's been done within the United States. I personally have been able to I've been a co-instructor for a course done for another provider, the Knowles in the case. My understanding is that it is possible for a provider, a master educator course provider, to bring in contract instructors. And according to a brief conversation that I've had with Ben Lahan, it is possible for a BSA qualified person to be one of those people brought in under contract. But that still has to meet all the terms of it's not something where the BSA person would just go invent the course. It would have to be a course done by someone who is involved, or they would have to be hosted by the organization which is under contract to the Lead No Trace Center to do the master's course. That would be breaking new ground. It will be interesting to work that. I know I'd be very interested in how all that shakes down, and certainly the Lead No Trace Center would be heavily involved in that conversation.
I have a question come in from Calvin Maynard asking us, will we be going over the Distinguished Conservation Service Award later today? And I will tell him that it was indeed covered last night in Frank's outdoor program presentation. But again, it's not an award that's administered by the Outdoor Ethics Committee. It is something that is administered by the Conservation Committee. I would look to them to find resources that would help you, as well as hopping online at outdoor programs on the scouting.org website, where there is a whole host of information in support of the new requirements for that award.
Yeah, and Scott, I would tell you that Brian on Scouting's blog today is on that topic. So, the information was just released 5 days ago. So it is brand new, and that really speaks to the earlier question about advisor training. I think all that stuff is in the pipeline, but it's going to take a little while to get there. But you're absolutely right, Scott. Go to there's FAQs and application, and the advisor workbook is all posted now. And but there'll be a lot more coming out on that as time goes on.
I'm laughing here because Graham Twaddle is online here, and he asked a great one. Charlie, can you share a little bit more about the benefits of using biodegradable soup?
Oh.
So I will answer for you.
I'll show the rest of that, my virtual background here.
The virtual background behind Charlie is one of the many posters we use on our national exhibits at the National Jamborees and Adventuring Fest and NOAC. And this is one of the misprints. Spelled correct, did not catch it, and it should have said soap, and it was soup. And we printed this wonderful banner and then had to print a brand new one. So, so there is no benefits to biodegradable soup.
My old Zoom told me my old computer would not do a virtual background, so I call this my poor man's virtual background.
Mark Hammer, we haven't heard from you tonight. Is there anyone looking into using or incorporating augmented reality glasses in training programs?
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Sounds like an interesting idea. I don't know that anybody's looking into that. I'm sure some of our techie folks have all their gears in their heads turning right now. Matt and some of these other folks are probably just thinking about how they could use that. So we'll see how that goes. Are you aware of other trainings that are doing that we could go look at as an example?
Yeah, that's a good follow-up question. I'm certainly not aware of anyone using augmented reality in outdoor ethics training or other scout trainings, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility. I do all the participants see these questions because Michael has typed in a question with some links about wonderful things that his council is doing to support awareness sessions. So at this point in time, I have no more open questions, and we are just about at the hour. Okay, we're going to take about a 1 hour lunch break, and the conference will resume at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 Central, 11 Mountain, and 10 o'clock Pacific time.
10 o'clock Pacific.
So thank you all for joining us today. And if you have more questions, you can submit them in writing to OE conference at outdoorethics-bsa.org, and we will try to answer them and make sure everybody gets a copy of them somewhere along the line. So thank you so much for your participation today, and we're going to see you at 1 o'clock.